Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. I, 21 male, grew up thinking I had a fairly average family. My parents, both in their late 40s now, were married for over 25 years. My dad was the breadwinner, an analytical, serious man, the kind who scheduled vacations 2 months in advance and made spreadsheets for household expenses. My mom, who's warmer and more spontaneous, handled most of the emotional labor in the house. I was their only child, but our family didn't feel like three. It always felt like we had a fourth member. My cousin, Layla, 20 femle, my mom's sister's daughter. Layla was practically a fixture in our home. She lived nearby and would stay with us multiple weekends a month. Summer breaks, she was with us. Christmas morning, she was always invited. I grew up thinking of her as a kind of sister. She was sweet, smart, charming, and from the outside, we looked like a tight-knit family. Except, there was always something off about the way my dad treated her. When I was a kid, I didn't really understand favoritism. I just knew that Layla always got the better birthday gifts. A bike with custom paint when I got a scooter. An iPhone at 13 while I waited until 16. At first, I chalked it up to girl dad energy. My dad often talked about how he always dreamed of having a daughter. "If I had a little girl, I'd spoil her rotten," he used to say with a wistful look. My mom would smile tightly whenever he said that, and I'd just feel uncomfortable. As we got older, the favoritism got harder to ignore. He'd attend her school recitals religiously, but never made it to any of my soccer games. He called her Princess Layla and gave her birthday speeches at family dinners. For my 18th birthday, I got a watch. For hers, he gifted her a European travel package with a prepaid debit card. Again, I told myself, it's weird, but maybe he just always wanted a daughter. Maybe this is how he expresses that. My mom never called it out, but her mood always dimmed when Layla was around. She'd busy herself in the kitchen or take long errand trips during visits. I should have noticed more. My dad turned 50 a few months ago. We threw him a big party, family, friends, neighbors, even co-workers. Layla couldn't attend because she's currently studying abroad in Belgium. That didn't stop my dad from bringing her up every 10 minutes. Layla would have loved this band. I wish Layla were here to see the slideshow. I hope Layla's having fun with the Belgian boys. She deserves it. People laughed politely, as they always did when he made his Layla-obsessed remarks. But I was seething quietly. I tried to ignore it and focus on helping my uncle, my dad's younger brother, Uncle Pete, who had clearly gone a little too hard on the whiskey. As I walked him out to his car at the end of the night, he threw his arm around my shoulder and slurred, "Shame your father's favorite child couldn't make it, huh?" I didn't respond. Then he said, "But she will be the one to get the college fund. Guess you'll have to figure it out some other way. Real unfair if you ask me." That stopped me in my tracks. "What college fund?" I asked. Pete looked confused. "You know, the one your dad's been saving for Layla since she was little. I thought you knew." He said it was his secret legacy gift. I didn't say anything. I just nodded, helped him into the car, and went back inside. I didn't sleep that night. I kept thinking about the trips, the gifts, the attention, the little ways I'd been dismissed while Layla was idolized. I wasn't even jealous of her. I was just stunned that my dad could do something like that. The next morning, I told my mom. I didn't expect her to react the way she did. She froze, then said that she will look into it, and she did. She pulled financial records. She went back through years of banking transfers. She examined old tax files. And what she found left her in shock. For nearly 12 years, my dad had been quietly transferring thousands of dollars, first quarterly, then monthly, into an account under my Aunt Karen's name, Layla's mom. After my mom discovered the financial transfers, she confronted my dad directly. He didn't even try to lie. He confirmed that the money was for Layla. He told her, with no shame, that Layla deserved it more than I did, that she had potential, and that he felt responsible for her future, because her loser father didn't earn enough to fulfill Layla's dreams. But my mom did not buy it. She's always been intuitive, and somewhere deep down, I think she had suspected the truth for years, but hadn't let herself connect the dots until now. The gifts, the obsessive attention, the bizarre emotional connection, the financial support. It all pointed to something darker than just favoritism. She didn't confront my dad further that night. Instead, she went to confront her sister, my Aunt Karen, Layla's mother. She sat Karen down, laid out everything. The financial transfers, the years of one-sided favoritism, and the uncomfortable connection between her husband and her sister's daughter. Then, my mom asked a very uncomfortable question. Layla isn't just his favorite, is she? She's his daughter, isn't she? Karen's face apparently gave it all away, but she still denied it. She said that my mother should know how my father always wanted a daughter, and maybe he saw one in Layla. But my mom wasn't letting it go. She said if Karen wanted to continue to be her sister, to continue being a part of our lives, then she would need to prove it. She demanded a paternity test. Karen broke. She fell apart right there. She admitted that, yes, Layla is my father's biological daughter. They had a one-time mistake years ago. She begged my mother for forgiveness, saying she was young and stupid. Karen begged her to keep the secret. She said revealing it would destroy her marriage, hurt Layla, and humiliate the entire family. She said Layla had no idea who her real father was, and that it would devastate her to find out this way. But my mother was done protecting liars. My mom didn't stay quiet. She told her sister's husband, Layla's legal father, the truth. She told my dad's family, her own parents and Layla. She exposed the affair, the financial support, and the paternity secret to everyone. It was brutal and messy. Layla's entire world collapsed in a single day. She found out her father wasn't her father. Her uncle was, and that the man she adored had been secretly fathering her behind everyone's back. She hasn't spoken to anyone since. She now refuses to come back from Europe. Karen's husband left, filed for divorce within a week. My father was forced to move out of our home and now lives alone in a rented apartment. My mom filed for divorce and is making sure he gets the bare minimum. And me? I've been stuck in the middle of the war zone with shrapnel in my chest. And now my dad has turned on me. He says I'm the one who ruined Layla's life, that I should have stayed out of adult business, that secrets exist for a reason, that not every truth needs to come out, and that I destroyed everything he tried to protect. He told me, "You'll never understand what it means to carry guilt for decades. You had no right to blow up her life like that. She was happy. We were protecting her. You ruined her." It's like he's rewriting the story, casting himself as the noble man who made hard choices for love, and me as the villain who shattered it all with a few careless words. But I can't feel sorry for him. I just can't. He lied to me, lied to my mom, stole from me to fund the future of a child he fathered in secret, and pretended to be this noble family man while living a lie. He says I burned down his world. But maybe it was never a home, just a stage built on rot and termites. My mom and I are trying to rebuild. She says she doesn't regret a single thing, that she should have trusted her gut years ago, that I did the right thing telling her what Uncle Pete said. But some of my extended family think otherwise. They say I opened Pandora's box, that I should have let sleeping dogs lie, that now Layla's life is ruined, and Karen is publicly humiliated, and my dad is a broken man, all because I couldn't keep my mouth shut. But the truth is, this was always going to come out. Secrets like that don't stay buried forever. I didn't dig the grave. I just tripped into it. So, Reddit, am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Let me be perfectly clear. OP didn't destroy his family. OP's father did, and OP's aunt. They made their bed years ago when they had an affair and buried the truth, then built an entire lie around it. All OP did was uncover the rot they were trying to paint over. OP is not responsible for Layla's pain. That's 100% on the two people who made her without honesty or integrity. OP's dad blaming OP is the ultimate gaslight. He's angry that he can't keep playing house while hiding his second life. The fact that he stole OP's future, emotionally neglected him, and now dares to guilt him? Disgusting. And now let's hear community's opinion. As a mother, this story broke me. Your poor mom. Married to a man who loved her sister and raised another woman's child behind her back, while stealing from his own son to fund that secret life? Unforgivable. And now he's blaming you. Not the a-hole at all. You were a kid caught in a web of deceit spun by adults who should have known better. Layla's pain is valid, but it's not your fault. She's also a victim here. What your father and aunt did was selfish, cowardly, and deeply cruel. Your mom was right to burn it all down. Better an honest collapse than a lifetime living in someone else's fantasy. Wow. Your dad didn't just betray your mom, he betrayed you. Financially, emotionally, and as a father. He funneled your future into his fantasy child and now cries foul because the truth came out. Spare me. You're not the a-hole, not even close. The fact that Layla is his biological daughter makes the betrayal worse, not better. And your aunt, manipulative to the bone, asking your mom to keep her dirty secret to protect her fake marriage. Selfish doesn't even begin to cover it. I hope your mom cleans him out in court. You did the only right thing in a situation built entirely on lies. My son is 18, still pretty much a baby, and wild as a buck. He's a lot like his dad in that sense. Multiple times I've caught him drinking, lying about his whereabouts, and sneaking out. He's come home so drunk that he's just puked everywhere. He's been in a couple of fights at school and suspended for them as well. His dad thinks everything he does is absolutely hilarious. He has a very boys will be boys mentality, and I hate that. I have 2 other girls with my current husband, and I don't allow them to act like that, and I won't allow my son to either. Well, prom night happened last weekend, and I feared my son would act out. I patted him down before he left and sent him on his way to pick up his girlfriend. The only thing that comforted me about prom was that I did feel like his girlfriend was a sweet and respectable girl. I've known her since she was little and had high opinions of her. I had hoped this girl would keep him in line for prom, but I wasn't naive to his antics. Prom came and went, and I had my son FaceTime me at his dad's house after to prove he wasn't at an after party, and did a drive-by an hour later to make sure his car was still parked there. The problem arose around 5 a.m. that morning when I went for a jog. I changed my route this time so I could go by his dad's house. To my disbelief, I saw his girlfriend's car in the driveway. By this time, his dad had already left for work. I rung the doorbell until my son came and answered. He had obviously just woken up. I said, "I know your girlfriend is here. Let me in." He tried to block the door, but I told him I would call her parents if he didn't move. He kept saying, "Please don't talk to her, Mom." But I wasn't going to let him mess this girl's life up, as he was trying to do with his, and his dad did mine. It was obvious that his girlfriend had spent the night based on her appearance. I let my disappointment in her be known, and told her I thought she was a nice girl, but she wasn't compatible with my son. He seems to be a bad influence to those he's around and has some issues he needs to work on. I also told her if she wasn't careful, she'd end up pregnant and alone, because he's really no different than his father. I told my son he was grounded when he got home, but he hasn't been home since. I got a harsh text from my son's dad later calling me an a-hole for what I said to the girl. He said that I made son's girlfriend cry after I left, and that I made him cry to his dad because I embarrassed him, and he can't figure out why his mom hates him. I don't hate my son, but he needs harsh love. He's been off the wall since he was in 8th grade. His dad constantly enabling him behind my back and thinking this behavior from him is funny is not helping. I worry about his future if his behavior doesn't change, and that he's going to knock this girl up and leave her as well. His dad thinks I'm an a-hole, and my son only texts me to bawl me out. Am I the a-hole for what I did? Edited to add. When I said I hoped his girlfriend would keep him in line, I didn't mean I expected her to discipline him or anything like that. What I meant was, when he's around her, he doesn't seem to ever act wild like he can be, because she is not a wild girl, and I assume he wants her to like him. Also, when I was speaking to his girlfriend, I wasn't cruel, but I wanted her to be prepared for things she could expect if she became pregnant. Yes, the a-hole. I get that you're trying to force your son to be a different person from his father, but you crossed a really big line by talking to his girlfriend, especially the way you did. I went back and read that again and just got angrier at you. And let me say, as the mother of a teenage girl, you and I would be having words if you ever spoke to my child in such a way. Women are not there to be the ball and chains that keep men in check either. Boys will be boys is a stupid and dangerous mentality, but so is putting women as the ones with a responsibility to keep a man in check. You going off on the girl is unfortunate. She's not a part of your drama. Yes, the a-hole. Your son and his girlfriend are legally adults, and they can spend the night together if they want to. Calling what you did, telling her the truth about him, shows your warped perception. She knows exactly who he is and seems to like it. Stay out of it. My younger sister, Sophie, 17 female, has always had a bad habit of borrowing my, 19 female, things without permission. Jewelry, makeup, clothes, electronics. I have told her a million times to stop, and have even had to make her take off my jewelry when I see her out in public before. She views it as regular sister stuff, but it really bothers me. I don't like sharing. She also used to ruin my stuff. She has gotten a little better though. I found a vintage designer gown at a second-hand shop a few months ago. It's not, but think Givenchy, not a normal find, and paid to have it altered to fit me. It looks incredible, and I can't wait to wear it. My country has a similar big formal event at the end of the final year of secondary, similar to American prom. Hers was coming up, and she already had a dress, but wanted to wear mine. I said no, and she got upset, but seemed to respect it, which made me suspicious. The day she was leaving, it is a weekend-long event at a historic site out in the countryside. I checked her garment bag and saw, you guessed it, my gown. She was outside talking to her friends, and I was furious and sick of talking to her about this. So I switched my gown out for a cheap casual sundress. She discovered this while there and wasn't able to get a different dress. She apparently broke down as she was looking forward to impressing everyone there after not having events for so long due to the big recent global thing. My parents think she was wrong for stealing, but are mad at me because they paid a ton of money for her to go to this event and she didn't have fun. I feel a little bad because she is clearly puffy-faced in all the photos and her dress does look out of place. But I wanted to teach her a lesson about stealing and was afraid she'd ruin it. Am I the a-hole for switching the dresses? Not the a-hole. It was your dress. She shouldn't have taken it without your permission. She ruined the event for herself by stealing something from you. Not the a-hole. If she had gotten caught stealing from a store, they wouldn't let her keep it until after her event. Actions have consequences. I totally think you're not the a-hole for refusing to enable this ridiculous stealing she's doing. She's 100% in the wrong, and I agree she needed to be taught a lesson since you've tried talking to her and it hasn't worked. But I think you're switching it with a sundress and not her actual dress was petty and brought you down to her level. Like, don't play along with her stupid games. I think your message would have gotten through with just her regular prom dress. This way she could play the victim, hence the puffy face. Think about that. She's clearly in the wrong, but you fell into a trap and allowed her to still make people feel sorry for her. If you'd switched it for her actual dress, no one could have said anything against you. I get the urge to do what you did, I really do, and I don't think everyone sucks here because what you did wasn't at the same level as what she did. But I still think you were unwise to fall into her games. Next time, don't. But hopefully she's learned her lesson. Alright, I, female 17, have an older sister, female 28, that I honestly don't like. She treated me so badly when I was a kid to the point that I just decided to ignore her existence when I grew up. And she has a nasty habit of thinking she is entitled to my stuff and usually takes and uses them without my permission or even knowledge. She is used to taking my makeup when I'm not home and don't give it back until there is just a drop left. She would take my clothes and return them all stretched out because she has more curves than me. And she even took 5 of my solitary rings and returned them to me the same night with 3 of them broken. I tried to talk to her, but she just ignores me. I've tried to talk to my mom about it, but all she can do is talk to my sister, since she's past being grounded for what she does. So I got a gold-plated earring for my birthday. I got it from a cousin of a very famous brand in my country, so it's very expensive. And I loved him with passion. Usually when I went out, I always wore it. It didn't take long for the pattern to repeat itself. My sister caught it, and after a long time with no news from it, I came to find it in her room. Broken. I swear it was the day I was most outraged with her. I stayed in her room all day waiting for her to arrive and confronted her as soon as she got home from work and told her that she had to buy me another one since she had broken it. She, in her most cocky face, told me no, that the earring was very expensive and that it wasn't her problem. I, disgusted, went to her wardrobe, grabbed her college graduation gown and a pair of scissors, and went off cutting it in front of her. She started yelling at me, tried to hit me, screamed at the 4 corners that I was crazy, called my mother, my other sister. Anyway, it was the biggest scuffle. But since it was already done, well, there wasn't much more I could do. Well, my mother took me aside for us to talk after my sister stopped screaming, and she said that what I did was cruel, because I knew how important that gown was to my sister, and I destroyed it without a single second thought out of pure malice. I reminded her of all the things my sister had destroyed that were mine, and she just told me that I shouldn't have lowered myself to her level, that if I wanted another earring like the one she broke, I could have just asked her and she would happily buy me another. But I told her it wasn't just a matter of money. I have money. I could have bought another one for myself. But if I didn't do anything, she would keep on destroying my things as if they were nothing. My mom said she was disappointed with my grudge and said she didn't think I could think like that. And I started to actually feel guilty about what I did since then. So I wanted outsiders' opinions on the internet. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Why? Because I love it when self-absorbed, nasty people get their comeuppance. Your mother is a major hypocrite. If she had taught your sister respect for others and their belongings, she would still have her precious dress. She should have shut her crap down years ago. Is what you did wrong? Probably. But how much are you supposed to take from someone like that? I'm not going to call you the a-hole for what you did. Your sister is horrible and seems to get away with this behavior. I actually think your sister and mom are the a-holes here. Sure, mom can't ground a 28-year-old, but she can do things to protect you, like provide you with a lock, make her pay for the things she takes, kick her butt out, etc. Your mother is letting this happen. It's only a matter of time before you lost your patience. Not the a-hole. Technically, it was crappy, and you should have been the bigger person, but screw that. I'd go further and tell her for every item she takes, even if she safely returns it, you will destroy 3 of her items. No guarantee of equal value or sentiment either. She takes your $5 lipstick, you destroy her 3 favorite books. She stretches out your stuff, you rip her most expensive clothing pieces. They say karma comes back times 3. They also say karma is a B. Well, she is a B, so it is time for you to be her karma. As for guilt trips from your mom, let her know that she is playing favorites and that teaching you to be stolen from and picked on is not what she should be teaching you to accept in life. That's what I find to be the worst in this situation. She is enabling her to make you feel like you just have to take aggression. Leads to long-term damage. Let sis know what's up and that you're going nuclear from now on. My daughter, 7, nearly 8, is really into sport. Her favorite is football, soccer, and she is amazing at it, as in one of the best in her year at primary school, even out of the boys. Her school has a boy and girl team, and she plays on the girl team. However, the boys team has more recognition. Unfair for year 3s, second graders, but that's football for you. The striker from the boys team left the school, and the school asked if my daughter could take over for him for the rest of the year, as that is her role on the girls team, as well as her out-of-school team, and she was the best person for the role. She was thrilled. By the way, there are no rules against girls playing on the boys team, but there are rules against boys playing on the girls. It's ridiculous, I know. They were thinking about giving the sub, the bratty son of Kay, the role, but scoring isn't his strength. They decided against it. After the first meet, Kay approached me and started going off about how my daughter stole the opportunity from her son, and how that place was meant to be her son's, as that's what a sub was for, and how my daughter should stick to her own kind. She then said that it was awful for her son's self-esteem that he was beaten by a girl, and my daughter would be a distraction to the team members. She's 7, for the love of God. I then told her that it was my duty to let my daughter follow her dreams, and I was so proud of what she achieves. I also pointed out that by allowing her son to believe that girls were worth less than boys, she was doing him and his sister a disservice. This morning was another boy's birthday party. We'll call BB. Most of the boys in the class were there, and my daughter was one of 2 girls. Both me and Kay were there to help BB's mom. Kay was acting cold and salty, and when my daughter's team won a game and were celebrating, in the loud way 7-year-olds do, and her son was having a tantrum and kicking a wall, she said loudly to another mom, "Mama 2K20's daughter should stop being such a show-off. She's out of place in the team, and here. She's antagonizing my son, and she should stop trying to be a boy. She's never going to get to that level." Luckily, the kids didn't hear, but I did. These words flew out of my mouth. That level? Your kid wishes he could be half as good as my daughter. Why not go parent him before you or him ruin someone else's special day? I really don't get why she's making it into a big deal. It's just a place on a kid football team. It also shouldn't matter what my child's gender is. She is more skilled in that particular position than her son, so that's why the school gave it to her." She was really angry and stormed off. She and her son left the party early. I don't know if it was because of me or her son's tantrum, and I really don't care. My kid had a fun day, and that's all that matters to me. The other mothers were a little shocked, but most of them agreed that she was going too far. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole, but I'm gonna say it wasn't really fair of the school to actively go out and recruit another player for a spot on the team when there was a child waiting for the spot and attends training and matches. Kinda sucks to be the kid who was overlooked for the spot despite doing everything right, especially at 7. It's not exactly the Premier League now. However, this is not your fault, and the mother should have brought the issue to the school rather than you as a parent. Everyone sucks here, except the kids. I know that soccer recruitment is different in non-USA countries and starts very young, but the kids are 7 to 8 years old. Everyone needs to calm the duck down and relax a little bit. At 7 to 8 years old, coaches shouldn't be making roster decisions based on which kids give the team the best chance to win. They should be making sure everyone gets a chance to play, is learning the game, and is displaying good sportsmanship. The fact that the coach of the boys' team cared more about winning a 7 to 8-year-old kid's soccer match than making sure all the players on his team could participate makes him the biggest a-hole here. Meanwhile, while I'm sure your daughter loves soccer, she is already on a team. I understand you want her to have as much fun as possible, but it shouldn't be at the expense of other kids who just want to run around and kick a ball. And that's what your daughter is doing right now. She's taking playing time away from other kids who don't have another team they can play on. That isn't fair to them, and as the adult, you are supposed to know this and enforce fair play. Again, the kids are 8. Who gives a crap about winning games at this point? Now, while the sentiment of the other mother is not without some cause, she obviously went over the line by insulting your daughter. Again, the kids are 8. Punching down that much is absurd. The person she should be angry with is the coach of the boys' team, who seems to think that if he can just pull out a few more W's, he can finally make it onto the professional soccer coaching circuit.